So now we'll be continuing with our revision sessions, and today we'll be looking at the economic sectors. Now, what all will come in the economic sectors? Of course, the primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, that is agriculture, industry and services. A lot of questions. Again, this is again a very important section. Again, almost 1/3 of questions are asked on the economic sectors if you look at the trend of the last 13-15 years. Now, in this segment or in this section, you will have more of factual questions as well and less of conceptual questions. Okay, so and what we'll do in this section is we'll keep going solving the questions, and during the questions, whenever we come across any concept or anything in which understanding is required, we will ensure that we get the comprehensive understanding of that as well, in addition to solving the PYQs. Alright, so let's begin with the very first question, which again looks very factual. So consider the question says that consider the following statements. Consider the following statements. Statement 1 is India, despite having uranium deposits, so it is saying India is having uranium deposits, but it depends on coal for most of its electricity production. So this is correct. This is correct that India depends on its electricity production. Now you need to think whether this is also correct that India has uranium deposits. Yes, India does have uranium deposits as well. Maybe not too much. There is another concern with the uranium deposit that India has. We'll see that. Second statement actually talks about it. Second statement says that uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required for the production of electricity. So now, India has uranium deposits but still depends mostly on coal. That is correct. So why even after having uranium, India is depending upon coal? That can be because uranium is not as enriched as it is required to generate electricity. That can be the thing. But the statement says uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required. So you need to know whether this statement is also factually correct or not. So it is a very factual question, but let's see if we can eliminate at least some option. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Okay. And statement 2 is the correct explanation. So for both the statement, for us to know both are correct or not, we need to know this fact as well. Right. So we can't eliminate that if we don't know it. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct and statement 2 is not the correct explanation for statement 1. Again, we need to know this fact. Statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Again, we need to know this fact. Statement 1 is incorrect. We know this is not the thing. Statement 1 we know is correct, so this can be eliminated, but still we are left with total 3 options. So now what is the actual thing? The actual thing is you do not require 60% enriched uranium. All you need is 3 to 5% of enriched uranium. Okay? That is the enrichment level you require for uranium to generate electricity. So statement 2 is incorrect and statement 1, as we know, is the correct statement. So hence option will be C. Since statement 2 is incorrect, this option says statement 2 is correct. No, that is wrong. This option also says it is correct, so that is also wrong. Statement 2 is incorrect. You require 3 to 5% enriched uranium. India does not even have that much of enriched uranium. Next, consider the following statements. Most of India's external debt is owed by government entities. Statement 1. All of India's external debt is denominated in US dollars. Now, all cannot be denominated in US dollars. This is an extreme statement. And most of India's external debt is not owned by the government. It is mostly owned by the private entities. So both statements are wrong. Again, a factual question. This is with respect to international borrowings and stuff. In the context of India, which of the following factors are contributor or contributors to reducing the risk of a currency crisis? What factors can reduce the risk of currency crisis is what they are asking. Number one, the foreign currency earnings of India's IT sector. Yes, it can reduce the currency crisis. Why? Because the IT sector, when earns foreign revenue, foreign currency, it will reduce the. But what it's saying, it will reduce the risk. Okay, it's not saying balance of payment. It is saying risk. Now these are two different things. Okay, I think we need to understand this concept over here very clearly. So balance of payment is what? The trade deficit which is there or surplus which is there. India, when trades with another country, India will sell its product as exports and get, let's say, dollars. India will buy imports and have to pay dollars. Now in this scenario, if we are exporting less and importing more, then we will be in a trade deficit. So there would be a balance of payment which will be in deficit. If we do not have dollars to pay that deficit, then that would lead to balance of payment crisis. So that is a balance of payment crisis. But this question talks about in context of which of the following factors is our contributors to reducing the risk. Reduction of risk we are talking about. Reduction of risk meaning the foreign currency can fluctuate. If we are too much involved with the foreign currency, with the foreign world, that will hamper us also. For example, in 2008 crisis, why was India so safe with respect to this crisis? Because India did not directly invest in the subprime loans that were being given by the US banks. India was not directly investing its money in that. That is why we were safe. So the less and less we are invested directly, the less and less we will have the risk. So knowing this concept, let us look at the options again. Remittances from Indians abroad, yes, this is going to help. Increasing the government expenditure, no, not necessarily. Foreign currency earnings, this is, we are talking about earnings, not spending. So since this is earnings, this is going to help. Remittances is also after earnings, the NRIs are sending back into India, this is also going to help. So 1 and 3 are going to help, 2 is not going to help. How will government spending help as such? Government generation of revenue, earning money would have helped, but government's expenditure will not. Hence, option would be B, 1 and 3. Which of the following is issued by registered foreign portfolio investors? Registered FPIs, registered foreign portfolio investors, to overseas investors who want to be a part of the Indian stock market without themselves registering directly. So let's say someone is a foreigner who wants to own some stock market, but they don't want to get registered directly. So they get the access to the stock market through some registered portfolio investors, right? So these registered portfolio investors can give these people who want to invest in Indian stock market the access to Indian stock market through which of the following instrument is the question. So certificate deposit, no. Commercial paper, no. Promissory note, no. The correct answer here is participatory note. Participatory note. Participatory note, or it is also known as the P notes. So this concept you should remember. P notes are the notes. P notes are the notes through which registered foreign portfolio investors, issue to overseas investors who would want to be a part of the Indian stock market without themselves getting registered. Now why this provision is there? Because each and every individual wanting to register, you need to verify each and every individual. So that work is given to the foreign portfolio investor. They will do it. And they will have lot of such individuals with them under their portfolio, and they themselves will directly invest in the market. So when FPIs invest in the market, the overseas individual investor or the company, whomever they are, they also get exposure to the Indian stock market. I hope that's absolutely clear. Now, with reference to India's 5-year plans, which of the following statements are correct? With reference to India's 5-year plans, which of the following statements are correct? Statement 1 says, from the second 5-year plan, there was a determined thrust towards substitution of basic and capital good industries. Yes, our focus was on heavy industries. Industrial focus was there. Now, the fourth 5-year plan adopted the objective of correcting the earlier trend of increased concentration of wealth and economic power, talking about addressing inequality. Yes. In the fifth 5-year plan, for the first time, the financial sector was included as integral part of the plan. No, this happened later on. So here what happened? Here it was talking about the poverty alleviation. Removing poverty, garibi hatao. So statement 3 is wrong. Since statement 3 is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, 1 is correct. So 1 and 2 would be the correct answer here. Now, again an interesting concept here. Question says, consider the following statements. Purchasing power parity exchange rates are calculated by comparing the prices of the same basket of goods and services in different countries. Yes, absolutely correct. I'll explain this concept. So the thing is, guys, we know that, let's say presently $1 is trading at 80 rupees. So we think that the value of the rupee has gone down. $1, 80 rupees. Oh my God. But in reality, if you actually look at the value, $1 would actually be somewhere close to 20 rupees. How is that possible? Because in the market, $1 is trading at 80 rupees. But if you buy an ice cream in India, let's say you get a good ice cream of a particular quality brand in 80 rupees in India. Okay. If you want to buy the similar or the same brand and same quality and same amount of ice cream in USA, you will not get it in $1. You will have to spend $4 to get the same ice cream. What does that mean? That $1 may equal to be 80 rupees in the market. But value wise, the purchasing power wise, $1 is not equal to 80 rupees, $4 is equal to 80 rupees. Since $4 is equal to 80 rupees, so $1 is equal to how much? $1 is equal to 20 rupees. Now why this difference? This is the market rate, but this is the actual purchasing power. How are you able to calculate this? By comparing the price of the similar good, that is ice cream in this case. But you don't do it only with ice cream, you take a number of products and services. So that would be a basket of goods and services, and that is the classical definition of purchasing power parity exchange rates, which are calculated by comparing the prices of the same basket of goods and services of different countries. I hope that's clear. This statement is correct. Second, in terms of PPP dollars, India is the 6th largest economy in the world. No. India is the 3rd largest economy in the world. In PPP terms, India is the 3rd largest economy in the world. So, correct answer is A1 only. Among the following commodities imported by India, which one of the following accounts for the highest imports in terms of value, not the quantity, but in terms of value in the last 5 years? Spices, no. The entire Europe came to India for spices. But of course, there can be a thought process that since they have taken away the spices, so we may have less. But then spices are not like you excavate them, you keep growing them. So even when Europeans went away, still a lot of spices would still be there in India, and spices is not something we import much or import at all. In fact, we export the spices. Fresh fruits, no. Pulses, pulses, yes. Pulses also we import. At times, if there is a need, we may import fresh fruits also if the inflation is high. So time to time we may do that. Pulses are also we are importing. Vegetable oils are also we are importing. But if you look at the value of import, vegetable oil has the highest value of import. Edible oil has the highest value of import. In fact, 70% of the need of India is satisfied by the imports of vegetable oil. Next, with reference to land reforms in independent India, which one of the following statements is correct? The sealing laws were aimed at family holdings and not individual holdings. Wrong. It were aimed at family as well as individual holdings. The major aim of land reform was providing agricultural land to all the landless. Yes, this was the major aim, but still let us see other options as well. It resulted in cultivation of cash crops as a predominant form of cultivation? No, it did not. Land reforms permitted no exemptions to the ceiling. It did permit certain exemptions to the ceilings. So the correct option here is the major aim of land reform was providing agricultural land to the landless masses. Among the, again see a factual question. So in economic sectors, a lot of questions would be factual. Among the following, which one is the largest exporter of rice in the world in the last 5 years? That is India. In fact, in this decade, earlier India was second, but in this decade India has become the first, and it has been the first since a few years now. With reference to National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, that is NIIF, National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, which of the following statements are correct? It is an organ of Niti Aayog. No, it is not an organ of Niti Aayog. It has a corpus of 4 lakh crore. No, it does not. It has a corpus of 40,000 crores. It is a public-private partnership. Public-private partnership, as in the government of India is involved and taking the fundings from the private sectors also. The corpus is of 40,000 crores, not 4 lakh crore. So neither of the statements are correct. Again, a very factual question. Either you know it or you don't know it. Consider the following statements. The standard mark of Bureau of Indian Standards (BIS) is mandatory for automotive tires and tubes. Yes. So BIS marks are mandatory. This is basically the standard quality standard marks that we are talking about, which are necessary for the automotive tires and tubes. It will be there necessary for various other things also, including the tires and tubes as well. Now, egg mark. Egg mark is a quality certification mark issued by the Food and Agriculture Organization. No, that is wrong. What is Food and Agriculture Organization? This is nothing but FAO, and FAO is a specialized United Nations body. So it's not brought out by them. Then who brings this out? This is brought out by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. What are the advantages of implementing the National Agricultural Market Scheme? National Agriculture Market Scheme, ENAM, Electronic National Agriculture Market Scheme. So what the government has made? The government has made the entire India as one single market. You can see the rate of the produce, whatever you have produced in different markets and different mandis throughout India, and sell it to the best possible option. That's the concept. So let us look at it. It is a pan-India electronic trading portal for agricultural commodities. Yes. It provides the farmers access to nationwide market with prices commensurate with the quality of their product. Yes. So both options are correct over here. With reference to Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, consider the following statements. This question says, statement 1, under the scheme, farmers have to pay a uniform premium of 2% for any crop they cultivate in any season of the year. No. There is a differential rate of premium. Why is there a differential rate of premium? It is insurance. In insurance, different crops may have different risk. Kharif crop may have a different risk, Rabi may have a different risk, horticultural crop may have a different risk, and that is why the premiums would be different. So that is why government would be paying some a lot, in fact the majority of the amount of the premium, but some still has to be paid by the farmers, and that is also based on the risk profiling. So when it is Kharif crop, the farmers have to pay 3%. For Rabi crops, it is 2%, and for horticultural crops, it is 5%. So Kharif 3%, Rabi 2% and horticultural 5%. That shows that horticultural crops are the more risky because they are perishable, they are delicate, they can get affected very easily. Then Kharif, rain fed, rain requirement, then Rabi, the least risky of them all, but still of course there is a risk. So this is wrong. This scheme covers post-harvest losses arising out of cyclones and unseasonal rains. Yes, this scheme includes post-harvest losses as well. So the correct answer is option B. The following is the purpose of Uday, a scheme of the government of India. Now if you know, let's say the full form of Uday, you can get the answer. Okay, full form of Uday is Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. So Discom, that is distribution company. What distribution company? Electricity distribution company. So Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. Now if we know the name, let's see what the answer would be. Providing technical and financial assistance to startup entrepreneurs in the field of renewable source of energy? No. Providing electricity to every household in the country by 2018? No. Replacing the coal-based power plants with natural gas, nuclear, solar, wind and tidal power plants over a period of time? No. Providing for financial turnaround and revival of power distribution companies? Yes. Power distribution company, electricity distribution companies, which are Discoms. So this scheme is for Discoms, and this is the only statement which talks about Discoms, hence this is the right option, providing for financial turnaround and revival of power distribution companies. Next, the fair and remunerative price FRP of sugarcane is approved by whom? Now MSP, that is minimum support price, is there in 23 different crops. In sugarcane, there is a similar concept of MSP, but it is not MSP, but that concept is FRP, that is fair and remunerative price. Okay. Now, MSP is recommended by CACP, that is Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. This actually takes care of MSP, not FRP. Then FRP is taken care by whom? See, Agricultural Market Produce Committee, it regulates the mandis which are there. Okay. So now this option is wrong, this option is wrong. The correct option for approval of FRP is by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. The Cabinet Committee, CCEA, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approves the fair and remunerative price of sugarcane. Now, in India, markets in agricultural products are regulated under what? Markets in agricultural product. Essential Commodities Act? No. Agricultural Produce Market Committee Act enacted by the state? Yes. So it is regulated under the APMC Act. Agriculture Produce Market Committee Act. This act enacted by the individual states regulates the market. Now, next, which of the following brings out the consumer price index for the industrial workers? It is brought out by the Labour Bureau. Again, a very factual question. Reserve Bank of India does not bring in, Department of Economic Affairs does not, Personnel and Training does not. It's the Labour Bureau of India. It brings it for the industrial workers. Okay. Next, what are the significances of a practical approach to sugarcane production known as Sustainable Sugarcane Initiative? Seed cost is very low in this compared to the conventional method of cultivation. Maybe. Let's see further. Drip irrigation can be practiced very effectively. Yes, 2 is correct. So we can eliminate any option which does not have 2. So this is eliminated. There is no application of chemical or inorganic fertilizers at all in this. No. We are talking about sustainable, so that is not zero use of chemical fertilizer. Some use of chemical fertilizer will still be there. Hence, statement 3 will be wrong. Hence, any option which has statement 3 will be eliminated. So this is gone. This is gone. So 4 will also be right. But let us have a look at it. The scope for intercropping is more in this compared to conventional method. Yes, it will be more for intercropping. Why? Also because that's a part of sustainable development. You do intercropping. Intercropping as in you have two different crops. So one of the crop is taking some different nutrients, the other crop taking some different nutrients. So the reduction in one particular type of nutrient is not exorbitant or drastic, right? If only similar crops are grown, the same nutrients will be kept on taking by the soil. But if you do intercropping, different nutrients would be taken away. So the reduction in one particular nutrient would be lesser, and that's a more sustainable way of agriculture. So 1, 2 and 4, hence the correct option is option B. Now, next, in the context of the affairs of which of the following is the phrase special safeguard mechanism is mentioned in the news frequently? That is World Trade Organization. Now, what is special safeguard mechanism? Special safeguard mechanism means if there is a huge dumping of agricultural produce, right? So a country where this dumping is being experienced, that country can impose an import duty on this agricultural produce in order to save their agricultural sector. Clear? So that is the special safeguard mechanism in terms of the agricultural sector. I hope this is clear. Now, next, steel slag can be the material for which of the following? Steel slag, what is steel slag? See, from iron ore we get steel. So there is a process. It is done through a blast furnace at different temperatures and all. Steel, iron ore is there, and at the bottom here a lot of slag is left. So when steel is extracted from iron ore, the remaining or the byproduct is the slag. Slag is a byproduct in the extraction of steel from iron ore in the blast furnace. Okay, and now this slag can actually be used as a construction of base road, improvement of agricultural soil, as well as production of steel. Production of steel definitely, construction of base road definitely. Why improvement of agricultural soil? Because it helps in reducing the acidity of the soil. Since this is basic, it helps in reducing the acidity of the soil, and hence this slag is helping in agriculture as well. So correct option is all of the above. I hope that's absolutely clear. Now, one thing very quickly we need to see is with respect to the land reform, one question was there, right? So you need to know few points under land reform, because I think that question focused on one particular point alone, not the others. So what we can do is, yes, this one. We can do is look at the other points also of land reforms. So what all did land reform consist of? Let's quickly have a look. The very first thing about land reform, let me write here. The very first thing about land reform was abolition of zamindari, mehalwari, and Ryotwari. That is one thing. Second was the tenancy reform. Under tenancy reform, it talked about regulation of rent. It should not be too much. Also, fixed tenure. For fixed tenure, the tenant should be allowed to stay. And also, ownership to tenant. In which case, ownership to tenant if they have been tenant for 12 consecutive years. So what will happen? The landlords will not let that happen. After 10 years, they will kick them out. So there is no political win only, but this was the part of the tenancy reform. And the third one was the redistribution of land. To the landless masses. Now how this was done? This was done through the Land Ceiling Act. Now was this successful? No. This was successful up to 2%. This tenancy reform was successful up to 4%. So the total success rate of the entire land reform was only 6%. Okay, so this was about the land reforms, and these were the questions related to your economic sector. As you can see, very factual questions. You have to remember certain things as well to answer questions related to this sector. And as you know, this has been having a share of almost 1/3 number of questions in the examination. All right, so keep studying well and stay tuned with Legacy IAS. Thank you.